DEI, short for diversity, equity, and inclusion, is the target of the right wing, is the current right wing boogeyman following the end of affirmative action. Now, you're not going to be surprised, however, that the folks who are pushing hardest to end DEI are doing so because they're racist. Now, in a recent survey, the University of Massachusetts Amherst investigated what, if any, influence racism has on public opinion towards DEI programs. And they found that a lot of people who say, oh, racism, it's not a problem, we shouldn't solve it, they happen to oppose DEI. So let's get into the results of that. Now, on average, 46% of Americans who believe that racial problems are rare support DEI. 45% of those who are not angry that racism exists. I mean, consider that, right? You are not angry that racism exists. How could you not be angry about that? Well, if you're not angry about racism existing, that would be a pro-racist position. Now, only 45% of those, again, support DEI training, meaning 55% do not support DEI. 38% of those who do not believe that white people have advantages because of their skin color support DEI programs. That leaves 62%, which is a majority. So you can see that there are racist beliefs that correlate to not supporting DEI. In total, the survey found that support for DEI programs among those people was 73 percentage points lower among individuals with the most negative racial attitudes compared to those with the most positive attitudes. The good news here is that, on average, 7 out of 10 Americans support DEI for things like medical professionals, teachers, police officers, members of the U.S. Armed Forces, public sector employees, while 65% of Americans support training for private sector employees. The bad news here is that you have right-wingers that are trying to change that. They're trying to change public opinion on DEI by blaming high-profile accidents on that. For example, the ship that destroyed the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. Right-wingers are like, this is the work of DEI, the people that are unqualified, that are driving ships into bridges. How unqualified would you have to be to drive a ship into a bridge? Seems like it'd be, something that is fairly easy to avoid hitting a bridge. There were, in reality, numerous problems that led to this disaster, but one conservative commentator immediately went there by reposting video footage of a news conference on the tragedy held by Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, who was black. They commented, "This is Baltimore's DEI mayor commenting on the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. It's going to get so much worse. Prepare accordingly." As if that had something to do with it, which it didn't. You also had, in a different case, Charlie Kirk basically coming out and admitting, I don't trust black pilots. What? Why? No, DEI. Now, I can provide more examples, but you get it. You probably heard a lot of the anti-DEI stuff from right-wingers. Basically, they want to blame accidents that have nothing to do with a person's race on a person's race, DEI, and saying, if there only had been a qualified white man in the cockpit, this plane would not have crashed. So that does a couple of things. One, it basically ensures that black people and other minorities do not get the same opportunities to be doctors, pilots, what have you. And that cuts them off from higher paying jobs and from being able to climb up the economic ladder. That's the overall goal here, is to prevent black people from being able to get those same opportunities by cutting them off. Now, of course, they blame DEI, but in reality, a lot of these accidents are actually caused by deregulation. Let's go to the plane thing, right? Boeing. Remember the door that blew off in mid-flight over Portland? That came as a result of defects that workers had been warning about, but were ignored by the company. The lever recently reported allegations from Spirit employees, Spirit and Boeing worked together, of excessive defects, again, in the supplier's manufacturing. According to court documents, The workers said that they were instructed to cover up these problems, and the company even fired people who spoke up. So, I mean, that's really bad. It gets worse. Spirit workers were also allegedly being told to falsify inspection reports and to ship out products to Boeing as quickly as possible, while at the same time, the company execs were sending, and this is over a period of the last 4 years, a combined $65 million in campaign contributions to politicians that will vote to protect their profits and to make sure that they are not regulated. That is from both Boeing and Spirit's political action committees and employees. And would you look at their return on investment? Billions of dollars in profit with little safety oversight. Now, let's look at the ship crash in Baltimore. Once again, they blame DEI, right? The company responsible for it had actually blocked employees from reporting safety concerns to the Coast Guard, getting in the way and then covering things up. So that's the issue. It's got nothing to do with DEI, everything to do with corporate profiteering. Now, it's easier, though, for conservatives to blame black people than their precious, precious corporations, their deregulation. Wouldn't you agree? Now, not only does it allow them to be racist, but their donors can get away with essentially murder. In the case of Boeing, the whistleblower, that could be literal, even though that's just my speculation. But I'm not the only one who has speculation on that. But look, here's the thing, though. Now, I gave you the survey results. There's about 1,000 people in the sample size. And so it's not 100% definitive, but it is interesting to look at. That said, okay, not everybody who opposes DEI is racist either, or is doing so for racist reasons. And I want to bring up, and this is an interesting case study, Charlemagne the God. Now, he came out in a Daily Show segment, and he's like, DEI is garbage. Why? He's a black man. Well, he said, the truth about DEI is that although it is well-intentioned, it's most garbage. Kind of like the Black Little Mermaid, just because racists hate it doesn't mean it's good. Interesting. He said, I'm not surprised these programs don't work, and here's why. It's just corporate PR. They want good vibes. Real DEI is only going to come from black leadership. Now, look, he got a lot of people pushing back on him for this, but I think he makes a good point because it makes me think of the rainbow washing from corporations. Look, you know, Pride, okay? Pride Month, all these corporations, they changed their logo to a pride flag because it's good vibes, it feels good, right? It's great PR. Hey, we're inclusive. We support the trans and gay community. And yet, at the same time, behind the scenes, a lot of these same companies, corporations, executives are donating to massively anti-LGBTQ plus politicians. So that's what's going on here, right? And so, yeah, if you want to point out that corporations are just putting this up, you know, doing DEI in name only, and really not helping the black community or the gay community or whatever community they're claiming to support, that's fair. That's fair, okay? If all you're doing is saying we're supporting it, but not actually doing the real work, investing in, for example, the black workforce, encouraging black entrepreneurs, helping them out, voting black leadership in, bringing them into your boards, then all you're doing is PR to help your image. Well, that's not doing anything for the black community. No, you have to do investment. You actually have to, live your values, okay? Invest in black communities. Invest in black businesses. Invest in higher education, access for black people to make sure that they have the same opportunities everyone else does. And if you're doing that, then you are actually empowering the next generation of black creators, black businessmen, minorities, and helping not just the black economy, because the black economy is just part of our overall economy. And when black people do better, everyone does better. And that's how it's supposed to work. A rising tide is supposed to lift all the boats. But there are some people out there who only want to sabotage the black boats And I think we know why.